I just want to thank you guys for your input yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video where I had a small emotional trying to keep myself together and off the verge of a breakdown because of my Nana and having to call 911 for a woman that reminded me of her because of her hair, who was slumped over her steering wheel while it was pouring down rain and storming in Panama City Beach in her van with the handicap tag. It was a whole thing, right? But a lot of you left comments and you're like, hey, listen, you can call the local police department, give them your information. They can look up that you called about her and they should be able to give you info on what happened. And I was like, oh, wow, I did not know this was an option. I was thinking it was a whole privacy thing. Once you called it in, you were done. You were never going to know what happened from it. And from what I was told today by the woman who, I don't know if she's like a customer service liaison, sounds absolutely stupid because I don't think that's how that works in police departments, but I don't know what ranking she had or whatever else, but I was able to speak to somebody at the Panama City Police Department. I gave her my name, my phone number, so she could look up the phone call that I called in for the woman in the vehicle, and what she told me, and I'm guessing that it did not end well, which I don't know. She said that they could not give me any information on the wellness check that they performed from my phone call. I don't know if that means, somebody mentioned that if they don't tell you anything, it probably means that that person had passed away, which would explain the angle of her being over the steering wheel, because like I said, she was like forwards but like this, like on the steering wheel, so I could see like the side back of her head. Normally if you're just having a moment and you need to pull over, a lot of times you're like this on a steering wheel, you know, you put your hands on the steering wheel, put your forehead on your hands, maybe have a good yell, scream, whatever's necessary. But when I passed her, she was like this, and the whole point was her hair reminded me of my Nana's hair, which I'm better today, thankfully, which is very interesting. I should still be in a completely emotional just basket case, but I think I cried all of it out this morning, so that was that. A lot of y'all said you just have to let the emotions out, and every year I push them jokers down, and this morning I was like, you know what, it is what it is. It's gonna happen. Just floodgates, right? You're in the shower, just wash your face when you're done, you'll be fine. But when I called the police department, like I said, they said that they could not give me any information on the wellness check that was performed on the woman from the phone call that I made. So I unfortunately believe that that means that she was not alive when they got to her, or did not, maybe she was and didn't stay alive. That's what I think it means, since they can't tell me any information, and I absolutely hate that. But at the same time, I'm still so glad that I did call. Like my mom said, see something, say something. And it's true. It may have seemed like I did too much or didn't do enough. A lot of people are like, I can't believe you didn't turn around and go back. But you have to think about this. Listen, I was thinking about this after a lot of people were like, why didn't you turn around and go back? Well, one, it's storming. That's not an excuse, but it was storming. But the main reason is, as a female who was by myself, you never know what's going on. What if that person had been that way in the car because it was a setup? What if there was somebody else waiting for whoever was willing to stop? We can't trust people these days. So I was going to tell you guys all about what happened last night, but I'll still do that. But let me jump in front of that first. And I saw this story, or this video, it's still a story, but I saw this story/video on X, and it's from somebody's Ring camera. I assume it's Ring, whatever other brand does the video recording when you ring the doorbell. I don't know. I know Ring. I'm sure there's other brands, but whatever. So it's a video of a man with a full face mask on, you know, COVID era kind of face mask, walking up to the front door of this house. It's nighttime. It is pitch black outside. You see him walk up to the door, which I do have the video here, but I don't know if it's copyrighted, so I can't like do the whole entire thing. Let me find it and show it to you. But he walks up to the door and he rings the doorbell. And as he's ringing the doorbell, he steps back a little, which always weirds me out when they step back way too far. I'm like, you're trying not to be picked up by the camera. That's what I always think. So he steps back, and then you notice that there's other men at the bottom of the stairs in the very, very pitch black area. And you hear the Ring, I still think it's Ring, doorbell saying, hey, please be patient. I'll be there in a second, whatever. And it's pretty late at night from what I gathered from this. And the guy that rang the doorbell, he goes, hey, here it is. Okay, so look, this video here, I don't know if you guys have seen this. He had the front of his face covered up when he walked up the door. You can see him walk up, and you can see there's other people behind him, right? He walks up, does all this, then backs away from it. And the person who lives there finally answers on the ring, and they're like, hey, can I help you? And this person goes, oh, my aunt's Apple Watch pinged this location, so we're here for it. And the guy on the other side of the ring video, he goes, well, we don't have any Apple Watches here or anything. It's just myself and my wife here. Number one, never tell anybody that you're alone at home. Never tell anybody how many people are in your home. If you want to tell them that you're fully stocked, locked and loaded, and you know how to, aim and pull a trigger to the chest, one of the head, go for it. But don't ever tell how people who's home and who's not home. I teach this to my daughter all the time. You never answer the door. You never tell anybody you're home alone. Any of these kind of things, right? Either way, this man tells this other man on the other side of the door, he says, we don't have an Apple Watch or anything. And the guy who rang the doorbell is going, well, she's telling me that it's pinging here, so we just want the watch. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, there are a lot of people out there who probably would have opened the door to have a conversation face to face. Your ass would have got robbed. That's all I can think about this, because it feels shady as all get out to me. Because if you thought that your aunt's Apple Watch was pinging to somebody's house, and you get there, one, why wouldn't you just like call the cops and be like, hey, listen, it's showing that it's at this house, because if it's there, it would mean it's stolen, right? If your aunt doesn't live there, why would her watch be at somebody else's house? So if this is legit, you should have called the police. The police would have been like, all right, well, if it's stolen property, we'll go over there. They could have done the whole thing. They would have said, hey, have your aunt meet us there, or give us her phone or whatever, so we can figure out if it's actually pinging there. Send us something that proves it's pinging there. Any of these things, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are still very trusting. And that's a weird thing to say, because still, you want people to still be trusting. You want people to still believe that there is good in everybody. But unfortunately, we have seen so many things lately in this world, not even just this country, but in this world, that makes you want to be very, very cautious of people and very untrusting, even though everything in us wants to still really give people like the benefit of the doubt and whatever else. But I fully believe if this man had opened his door, he would have gotten robbed. So instead, this man goes, hey, listen, if you'd like, I don't have it. He goes, I did yard work earlier. I didn't find a watch anywhere. I'd be more than happy to call the police if you want, and they can come here and whatever. And the guy on the other side of the door who did the initial doorbell ringing, claiming that there was a Apple Watch there, was like, no, that's not, but it says it's here. You could just open the door. And that's where the video ends. I guess maybe the ring camera ends there, whatever. But I showed it to my daughter. I said, listen, I need you to understand, because we have a ring camera. People could show up at our house, doubtful, because we have, a gate at the front of our community. So it's possible that they can't, but anything is still possible. You could tailgate somebody in through a gated community. I've seen people do it all the time. But I tell her, I said, you never answer the door, because you never know what's real and what's fake. If there's ever anybody at the door and ring camera picks it up and they're saying, hey, this blah, 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 just go ahead and immediately call the police. You don't need to talk back to them. You don't need to say anything. Just go ahead and immediately call the police, because I would rather you be safe than sorry when somebody's on our front porch doing what they shouldn't be doing, which you guys know, maybe about a month ago, the guy that was there claiming to be from FPL, which is Florida Power Lights, but he wasn't. It was a whole shiesty scenario, police and stuff like that. It was crazy. But when I saw that video, I was thinking to myself how grateful, it sounds so stupid, grateful I am for technology, because without that ring camera, what if that man had just gone and opened the door? There would be no proof that there was somebody there ringing the doorbell. There'd be no proof of the people that would have gone into his home, because I still believe he would have gotten robbed if he had opened the door. But it's just one of those things. And so we're talking about common sense, right? So last night, my family and we went to go see Nate Bargatze in Orange Beach, Alabama, which is basically Gulf Shores, we love Gulf Shores. I think it's great. But we went to go see Nate Bargatze, and it's right at the time where the tropical storm that never got a name is coming through, and it is pouring rain, it's lightning, it's whatever else. And we're at the Wharf Amphitheater, which is an open venue. Guess what they did? They were like, all right, well, we're going to keep pushing this off. So instead of the doors opening at 6, they opened the doors at like 6:40 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what time. And we were allowed to go in because the rain had slowed enough, because there's no lightning, no rain. So you go in and you sit down, and then you're there for about 45 minutes waiting for the show to start, and then they make us all leave again. We all have to evacuate the arena because there is another wave of storm coming through that hadn't been on the radar before, with lightning and heavy rain, whatever else. So a lot of people were like, all right, we're going to sit in the cars, we're going to leave, maybe whatever. Because the venue said, stay close by, excuse me, hiccup, and we'll let you know once you can return. So we get in the car, and my husband and daughter and I were like, listen, I don't know if this is going to open back up. Maybe we should just head back home. It's already like almost 8:30, all these other things. So we go to leave. And we're going to go to a gas station, get a snack, because we hadn't eaten anything since 11 a.m. We were hungry. So we were going to go to a gas station, maybe grab a bag of chips or whatever, which is not the best, obviously. But when you're hungry, so we were going to do that. And we're driving, and we see an accident, which I'm like, really? This is what's happening today? Another storm, another reason to call 911. We didn't call 911. Somebody else already had. You can see blue lights coming. But the problem here is, and I had to tell my daughter again, because she's 15 and a half. She's not 16 yet. And I realize a lot of people don't know this, because some of these people were grown. Some of them seem to be early 20s. But these are people that probably had just left the Nate Bargatze show thinking that wasn't going to go back in, and maybe had been drinking already. Who knows? But a car hit another car, and that car that it hit moved forward, and so you have space between the two cars. Now, please keep in mind, it is stormy. It is dark as all get out over where we are. There are no lights on either of these cars, which is beyond stupid. I don't know why flashers were not being used. And the people from one of the cars, I don't know if it was the car that rear-ended or the car that got rear-ended, they were standing in between the two cars, just standing there. You know who can't see you? The people coming up behind your car. You know who can't see your car? The people coming up behind it, because you don't have flashers on. If that car had gotten rear-ended, the people standing between that car and the car that they had rear-ended would be smushed. And I'm trying to teach my daughter, I'm like, you know, what's wrong here? And she goes, well, according to when she had to take the driver's permit test, she said, you're supposed to stay, she goes, I think it's 30 feet or 30 yards off the side of the road when you have an accident like that. She was trying to remember everything. And I'm like, so where do you not stand? She goes, well, clearly in front of the car where people can't see you, because that's how you die. And I'm like, exactly. But a lot of people don't realize that there are very unsafe ways to do anything, because I think we get so caught up in what's happening at the moment that we're not thinking about situational awareness. As you guys talked about with yesterday's video, I had situational awareness, but for some reason these girls and the guy had zero situational awareness, and they could have easily been, it could have been an absolutely horrific situation, right? And I'm assuming it wasn't, because when we did end up going back to the Nate Bargatze show, because they did open the gates back up, we did go back to it, which I have a little story about that. We did go back to it. I didn't hear any of the sirens for like ambulances and stuff, and I didn't hear a loud bang. No. So I'm thinking they're okay. I'm hoping they're okay. So we go back to the Nate Bargatze thing. Parking is absolutely trash. If you've ever been to the wharf in general in Orange Beach and tried to go to the amphitheater, there's not a ton of parking really, unless you've like prepaid parking or whatever. So we go back, and the spot we had was completely gone. And I was like, man, this sucks, because now the line, when we got there, we were like the 17th people in line to get in the gate, right? Now there's hundreds of people in line, and you're like, I gotta stand in this line, it's still sprinkling, this sucks, whatever. How long is it gonna take us to get in there? The show will be over before we get in. So we're driving around trying to find this place to park, and there's a bunch of Tesla supercharger parking spots. 2 of them are open, and I was like, what's to stop people from just, you know, just go ahead and park there in your gas guzzler, your diesel, whatever, your global warmer, as people call it if it's not electric. What's to stop people from just parking there? Is there a law that says if you're not electric, you can't park in a Tesla parking spot? Or is it just looked upon or frowned upon that, like, they think you're a douche if you take up the parking spot if you don't actually need to charge your car? So we keep going. I'm like, let's not do it, because heaven forbid we come out of Nate Bargatze and we have no car because they've towed us or some dumb shit like that. So we find a parking spot, which is actually at the very, very front of getting out of the wharf, it worked out very, very well for us. And so we're walking in, and we see a Toyota 4Runner pulling in forward to the open spot. A Tesla took the second open spot, and this guy in his gas guzzler pulled into, which obviously I'm all about gas guzzlers. You're not going to catch me in a Tesla. It's not happening. You can keep your lithium batteries, because I'm not trying to catch my house on fire in the garage with that shit. So we see this guy, this older man and his wife getting out of this Toyota 4Runner that has pulled forward into this Tesla parking spot. And Kevin, my husband, he goes, man, we thought about it. We were this close. And the guy's wife was like, I already told him we're going to come out. We're not going to have a car. They would have told it. She goes, but I don't care. I'm not about to miss Nate Bargatze. This is the third time we've tried to get into this thing. They drove from Auburn, which is a very long drive from Auburn to Orange Beach, I guess. I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming it's far because we drove 2.5 hours to get there, right? So you didn't want to have to turn around and go home, right? So they parked there, and so we're walking, and we find out that there's like a handicapped parking lot, and you can walk through the handicap parking lot and go to a much shorter line to get in. And we were like, this feels like that good lucky loophole, so we'll do that. So we were walking this way, they were walking with us, and Kevin's talking to the guy, and the guy was like, it's wireless charging. We'll just tell everybody it's a wireless charging vehicle. Nobody will know the difference. It was funny. It's a dad joke kind of thing, right? But one of the ladies who works the perimeter of the parking lot, you know, there's always people there that are on the like go-kart, no, golf cart looking things. We're walking, and she goes, hey, she pulls up, she goes, jump in, I'll take you up there. And that was great. So we didn't have to walk the whole way. And then she went back and got the other two people. So we get in, finally get to our seats. Nate Bargatze was effing amazing. For anybody who wants to know, it's his last tour. He said this is the last one because he's been touring forever. So I was very, very excited. But what was really good about it, and I know none of this probably matters to anybody, I'm just very excited about it. We got to take our daughter with us to a comedy show. If you step back and think about most comedians these days, they are not family friendly. Most of them are not family friendly. We're not going to take her to see Dave Chappelle. I think he's funny, but I'm not taking her to see Dave Chappelle. I'm not taking her to see, what's the blonde chick who did the roast of Tom Brady? The one who did a lot of surgery to herself to have her glow up. Nikki Glasser. Definitely not taking her to Nikki Glasser. The fact that the three of us could go watch a I don't know if wholesome's the right word, but non-cringy, the awkward kind of comedy show as a family meant everything to us, because it's those moments that you get to have as a family that lasting memories, right? This is her first comedy show. The fact that we got rained on and we had to leave. We stopped at Waffle House in Pensacola at 11:30 at night and had waffles and hash brown bowls or whatever, and then didn't even get home till like 1:30 in the morning, and it was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I know she's almost 16. 2 more years, maybe. She's not going to want to do those things, in theory. I think our kid's different because we all like really get along, so maybe it'll be different. But most teenagers don't want anything to do with their parents at 16, 17, 18. So it's like, get in those memories, those moments while you can. So that's that. We could have talked about all kinds of stuff. I would like to talk about more tomorrow. We have family that's getting into town in about 30 minutes for the next week. My sister-in-law is coming here for her birthday, which we will be celebrating in a couple days. But I will see you guys again. I'd like to do an early morning live stream and really talk about the things that are going on in our country. President Trump related, obviously. Things that are going on with Gavin Newsom in California, because I get to say I told you so, which I hate to say, but also I do like to gloat just a little bit sometimes when I'm right. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff that there's too much that I can't really think of, but we'll talk about those things tomorrow. But I really just wanted to thank you guys for your words of encouragement yesterday, for your sympathy that was aimed my way. I highly appreciate it. I thank you very much. It really did help me. And then for your advice on how to call and get the information on the woman who, because they could not give me any information on the wellness check they performed, it makes me think, meh. But now we know. I feel like that's the closure, so I don't have to wonder if anything came of it, But anyway, thank you for letting me have this random conversation again with y'all. I love you immensely. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Thursday, because it is Thursday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.